coming tonight, everyone. Welcome to Retail Services. So the goal for the end of today's two sessions is to learn the essential skills for the job of being a sales assistant. So we've got two sessions and we have a quick sort of 10-minute break in between them. The first one will be focused mainly on customer service. So what I'll do is a brief introduction to the skill sets, and those are the things I'm posting on the board there. And then we'll have a look at selling techniques. Then we'll explore how to interact with customers and how to communicate for best results. Then we'll talk about how to provide excellent service and also how to handle complaints effectively. And then just before, or at the end of the session, we'll have an activity which is based around customer special orders. So ordering stock in for customers. I've created an activity based around that. And that will help you get in practice of making good documentation for other staff to use, and also how to use customer service strategies to resolve any issues. Then we'll have a break. And then the second session will be more about teamwork, and then another issue of store presentation. So we'll look at how you have to unpack and merchandise all your products systematically, and how to organise your work areas effectively, how to succeed in a team-based retail environment, and we will have a training exercise on how to fold a business shirt. So I've brought shirts for all of you, so you'll get to learn how to do that. And then at the end, as a conclusion, what we'll do is revisit the skill sets that I've got listed up there as an overview and a conclusion to all of the two sessions. Okay? So first of all, meet the skill sets. I'll just outline briefly the main skill sets that are required for the job of sales assistant. After these two sessions, there would be register training and things like that as well. So we won't be covering everything that you need for sales assistant, but in these two sessions, this is what we're doing. So the four are communication, teamwork, time management, and problem solving. So what I've done is put some printouts up here just to kind of help you keep them in the back of your mind. Literally right behind your heads. So communication, of course, written communication, verbal, your body language and your behaviour are ways of communicating to your customers. Listening, negotiating, persuading, empathising, they're all forms of communication, how you can interact. And generally promoting good relations with both your clients and your co-workers through these methods. And with teamwork, we've got that you would see the team as a whole and you take personal responsibility for your own role within the team. Sharing the load of work fairly and helping others whenever you can, when it's reasonable. And how to support and engage productivity for everyone in the team so that the team succeeds as a whole. And then problem solving skills could be things like how you resolve customer concerns, and you might use a variety of methods to do that. How to propose and develop practical solutions. How to show initiative in identifying problems. And then the fourth one, time management. I'll just go on this side. How to create strategies in order to meet your deadlines. How to plan ahead and prepare effectively. And how to prioritise tasks in order of importance and then manage the timing so that you achieve them to your schedule. So anyone got any questions so far? Okay, cool. Alright, so all I want you to do at this stage really is just keep those in the back of your mind and we'll revisit them later. I do want to tell you that you've already got these skills, of course. That's how you got here in the first place, through the selection process to be offered a job with Rod and Gun. And so what we'll do is pick up on them and develop them further through what we're going to learn in the two sessions. And knowing how to use these, I think it's really important because not only does it improve your understanding of this job, but it also helps you to understand what kind of skills you're already good at, and that gives you knowledge as to what you excel at and what you can offer an employer. Okay? So as I said here, we'll leave those in the back of your mind and in the back of the room for now. And what we're going to do is start on the selling techniques, because that will be one of the main ways that your performance of the job will be measured. And it's pretty much the main way that a company measures its success as well. So we want to learn how to obviously be part of that. So, sales, because I love maths. so much. I just had to work out a way to put some equations in here. So sales essentially are product knowledge plus persuasion. If you can combine those two successfully, then you will achieve some sales. Just before I get into that, a good tip, or really good piece of advice, is that it's really important to know your daily sales budget. Every day your company will have worked out how much they need to make in sales that day in order to cover costs and turn a profit and all that sort of thing. So it gives you a goal to work for if you make yourself aware of it. And managers also do love to ask about it. What's your budget for today? How are you going? So it's considered to be a good sign that you care about your job and that you're informed as to what's going on in that day and how much you're on so far. You've made $600 so far, budget's $1,000, something like that. So sales are a way that we can meet customer needs by matching up our products and services to those needs. I put needs in inverted commas because, of course, needs are sometimes just wants. You might not freeze to death in winter just because you didn't buy that new jumper from Hogan. So the essential sales components, you can break it down into 3 areas. The first one is that you find out what the customer needs are by asking questions and then actively listening to the responses. The second component is that you show them products that fit those needs and explain how they do so. So what are the features of the products and what are the benefits of those features to the customer? And then the third component is to persuade the customer to commit to the purchase. So you can do that by using good communication skills. You might need to revisit some of the features and benefits of the product. And you can also use related benefits like explaining discounts or the benefits of a loyalty club to the customer to get them to commit. So those are kind of really the 3 stages of making a sale. So we're going to do a little activity which is based around learning features and benefits. So in my opinion, understanding features and benefits and using that to your advantage is probably half the work of selling, if not more. So features are, features are what are the characteristics of the item. So for example, if we're going to use a piece of clothing as the example, what is it made of? What are its design features? Like, does it have a V-neck or a round neck or something if it's a jumper? What colour is it? What are the care instructions? So all of those characteristics that define the item, those are features. The benefits are the reasons why those features would be beneficial to the customer. So for example, using the same thing, if it's a woolen jumper, then wool is warm for winter. So that's the benefit to the customer. If the care instructions said that it was machine washable, then that means it's easy care. So that's your benefit. If it's got a round neck, you could say that means it looks good with a work shirt under it, so someone can get a lot of wear out of it wearing it to work. If it's black, you could argue it goes with everything. So that's how you get the benefit out of the feature. So they work together to make a persuasive case as to why the customer might commit to buying that item. So what I would like you guys to do is just take a few minutes amongst yourselves to think of an item. It doesn't have to be an item of clothing, but that might make it easier for you in this context. But any item that you have purchased that you're really happy with, and if you want, there's pens and papers and stuff here, if you need it, or you can write on the back of your handouts. But yeah, so just think of the features and the benefits to you, and that way, just after a couple of minutes, I'll get you to we'll talk about it, and you can persuade us that it was a great purchase. Okay? If you can come up with a lot of features and benefits of petrol, I'll be very impressed. Make the car work. I'm just going to check up on the camera.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be clothing. I just thought that was under the zone.
Yeah.
Because you're a potential Robin Gun employee.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So, yeah. Okay, a few minutes, I'm going to vibrate myself. So does everyone understand what I mean by the features and benefits?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. So essentially we're looking for the reasons you bought a a particular product? Why did you commit to that one and not another one? So if someone was going to say, oh, what'd you buy that for?
And they will.
Assume you're trying, pardon?
And they will.
We will, because someone will. Yeah, assume you have to convince them.
So only the benefits of the features that you identify, not just other benefits.
Well, if you can write down other benefits, then maybe we can work out what feature they come from. So, yep, write down features or benefits or whatever you can think of. And I'm not expecting you to come up with a big list, by the way. Just one or two even is fine, just for the purposes of the activity.
Have you come up with one?
I'll get a coffee.
Marley.
Oh, which one? Yeah. Sorry, that's
No, it's fine.
sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
You go. Yeah, you finished.
I've got two for each.
Yeah, perfect. That's fine.
I've got one the same though. That's why.
Chris is prolific down there. Is everyone pretty much ready to roll?
Yes.
Okay, who wants to go first?
Just I'm second. Alphabetical order. Last
Okay, Tash.
You what?
Yeah.
Hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
The features are that it's grey,
Okay.
of course. And it's a cotton fleece and it has a hood.
Yeah.
And the benefits are that it's warm, hard wearing, and goes with everything.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mm.
I'll take one.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeremy.
I recently ordered a new phone.
Ah.
And the benefits are, no, the features, it's very cheap.
Mm.
No software, all the buttons work, and it's got an uncracked screen.
Excellent.
Luxury.
Yeah. The benefits that it actually works as opposed to that one,
Yeah.
and it's black, so it goes with everything.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Karen?
I chose my bicycle.
Yes.
One of the features was that I was able to order online, so you didn't have to go into a bike shop during the day, so I worked during the day. So that was also a benefit in that it came partially assembled, so I was forced to learn some basic bike assembly.
Right. Good. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. And Ben or Chris, who wants to go first?
Well, I've got a new telephone, son that I jumped 3 generations from the previous one, so I couldn't stop listening. Both features and advantages, but you know, it has so that's communications. It has phone capabilities, so it's easy to contact friends. It can store massive amounts of data in terms of notes, things like that. I have books on there, so that's entertainment. It has an alarm, so this helps me order my time. There's numerous website access that relate to personal readings and things and interests. It has music, so it's nicely connected to an independent speaker, and I just get good quality music that's portable and can move around the house. A camera, so I can take photos without having to bring a camera with me. And it has a radio, so I can tune into the news. It has GPS, which unbelievably works even in Rome. So I had no idea that the GPS was so global and universally applicable. And then that's all I've done. So.
Well, I'm not sure that I'm convinced yet.
I have only just started.
We'll come back to you. Excellent, thank you. I'm very convinced on that one now. Okay, and Ben?
I wrote about my shirt because you said you liked it.
I did.
It's got loops. That was my first feature. It's got loops, which I presume. I don't really think they have a purpose, but they look as though they should hold up the sleeves.
That's exactly the purpose.
It's a good feature.
Yep.
Of course, it's made of cotton, which is which makes it easy to clean, and so forth. I don't know if it's a design or a benefit, because it is part of the design. It's a feature, but I happen to like it, which is the look of the thing.
Yep.
It's sort of muted but interesting at the same time.
Yes.
It appeals to me.
Yep.
It fits. It's comfortable, and mainly it hides my increasing paunch. So,
A lot of benefits there.
yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. I think you're all definitely got the hang of features and benefits and how they can be used to display it. That's great. Thank you very much. Okay, so we will move on now. The 6 selling steps. So I broke it down into 3 sort of components before, but a lot of companies will have a variation on these 6 selling steps, and features and benefits fit into this process. So we've got step 1 is that you approach the customer, give them some kind of greeting, basically acknowledge their existence. You might be busy with someone else, so even just a gesture or something like that, catch their eye. It doesn't always have to be hello, so how are you? The second step is that you gather and respond to information. So this is when you start talking to the customer, and they'll presumably start talking to you about what they're after. And this is the feature gathering section, where you can build up an idea of what are the features they're after in the product. Step 3 is then about selling those benefits. So because you've worked out what features are that they're after, you then can start showing them products that provide the benefits. Step 4 is that you overcome objections. So sometimes price does come up at that point, but it might be other things as well that they're unsure about. So sometimes you can overcome their objections by going back to more features, more benefits, things like that. Step 5 is when you close the sale, because sometimes customers can be quite indecisive. So you want to try and persuade them to commit. Sometimes it's just the wording that you use, and other times you might need to go back again and use a bit of more of the features and benefits. And then step 6 is maximising any other opportunities. So it can be that you might want to suggest items that will go with the other item they're looking at. So with Ben's shirt, for example, if Ben wants to purchase that from me, I might also show him a vest that would look really great over the shirt. Or if they're buying a pair of pants, you could ask if they've got the right colour belt to go with those pants yet, and if not, then you can show them that. The other point to remember is that sometimes people think that those other opportunities have to be sort of smaller or less expensive than the first item, and that's definitely not always the case, because you can't make assumptions about how much people are wanting to spend. People can sometimes surprise you with how much they spend, so it's good to just be open to showing them products that you think they might be interested in. So if Ben said that he wanted to buy the shirt because he was going away, it's possible. We've got a leather luggage set in Roanoke. I could say to him, wow, have you seen our leather luggage set? Do you have this is a great carry bag. And Ben could well say, oh, no, that's fine, thank you, I've got a suitcase and I'm all set. But you don't know, and it's beneficial if you don't make the assumption. So you just don't know, so it's always good to be game, really, as I put there. Give it a go, you never know. Most of the best salespeople who I've worked with are the people who will do things like that. And as I said, don't feel that you're being pushy. Customers might admire the luggage set and say, no, it's not for me, but that's great. But you just don't know. So it's always worth it. And as I've got here, you may end up repeating some of the steps a little bit in the middle. It doesn't always obviously work exactly in those orders. Sometimes people won't commit to one item until they've worked out a few. They want to get a few outfits going, something like that. Especially in menswear, that's more of an issue. Men seem to like to know what it will fit with, in my experience of menswear and womenswear. And so your product knowledge, which is really important in all of this and part of your features and benefits, that can be gained by reading range sheets. So range sheets will be sent out to you by the company usually once a month or something, and there'll be a print off with a picture of each new item that you're getting, usually to a page, and it will basically have the features and benefits on there. So it will say things like 100% cotton, it's easy care, it's cool in summer, all that sort of stuff. So that's a great place to get information from. Read the care labels as well, because customers will ask you, so you may as well know, and then that gives you more features and benefits that you can use. You can ask customers for feedback. Sometimes you don't, in fact quite often you don't get to see the clothing if they've tried it on. They come back out of the fitting room back in their own stuff. So if you want to find out how something fitted or why they liked it or why they said no, not for me, then customers are actually a really good source of information. And of course other staff as well. Other staff will have tried things on or seen customers. So there's lots of ways that you can get information to boost your product knowledge, and then that gives you your main sort of way to get through your sales. And product knowledge equips you to use the features and benefits within the series of steps. Thank you. So who are your customers? Well, obviously they're the people who walk through the door of the store, but I do think that it's always useful to define customer in a broad sense. I think that if the more flexible and valuable a skill is, then the more we want to learn it and keep perfecting it, so it's kind of just valuable, I think, broadly in life. So your traditional definition is, as I said, someone who would sell units and services too. So you can use these skills out of the run and gun environment though, maybe sometimes to your benefit, just never know. So for example, a person with whom you're applying for a job, and I've said here, not that we want you to leave, but that you could see that person as your customer because you're going to be selling a product to them, which is your set of services. Someone that you might be applying for a grant for, or you're doing some networking, or you're going for a promotion or a pay rise or something different at work that's going to step up. So any situation where you want to try and make a good impression and be persuasive to a positive outcome, you could kind of apply these principles to that situation and use a customer service kind of mindset. So it can be almost any person with whom you interact in your professional life, and someone who you're trying to get some sort of commitment from. So the benefit of that is, as I said, that all your interactions are then geared towards getting a positive outcome, and you can use customer service strategies to try and achieve that. Has anyone got any questions so far? So service. Service is about meeting customer needs. Is that the coffee machine?
It says service.
Yeah. Service. Oh, no, it's about service. Yeah. Okay. So service is about meeting customer needs. So what's the purpose of the interaction and how can the needs be met? So obviously, of course, sales of products and services, which we've talked about, that's one way that you can meet customer needs. Another way is by the provision of information about your products or services. So, for example, the famous leather luggage set that I've mentioned. People might want to know how to care for that, or whether it fits into, which one fits is like cabin size, dimension, carry-on size, all those sort of things. If someone was self-employed, they could be providing information on what sort of services their business provides. And it can be both for future purchases and existing customers. So some customers might either hold back and ask information, or people might be doing a bit of a scouting mission before they commit to anything. They're not going to buy that day. So again, another way you can meet that person's needs is by giving information. An important part, sort of not really just a part, but a small part, is accurately recording customer details. Get phone numbers correct, all that sort of thing, because if you're trying to call someone back for an order, so you need accurate details. And if you're adding them into databases as well, like a customer loyalty program. And adopt an attitude that makes you approachable. So try and greet people or acknowledge them as quickly as you can, and basically demonstrate your awareness of them. Most customers, in my experience, are really patient so long as you kind of just acknowledge them, and they're pretty happy with that. So that's a way that you can meet their needs as well, because you want them to know that you know that that's what you're there for. And towards that point, body language is really important, especially for initial impressions. So sometimes when there's no customers in the store, like try not to kind of slouch around too much because someone pops around the corner and, you know. So, I mean, basically look engaged with the job and be friendly, have that sort of attitude about you. So all of those are ways that you can meet customer needs. Excellent service. What are your experiences? What do you think makes for a truly good service experience, which is better than just an average or a bad one? Has anyone got any comments or any experiences of times when they thought, yeah, that person did really good service? Was there anything that they did that stuck out in your mind at all? Chris?
I know I purchased my Mazda because the salesperson had excellent product knowledge, like right across every single feature.
Excellent.
Not only did he have a good knowledge of it, but he knew it comparatively to competing models, right? And why this was a superior job. And it didn't take him long to work out my inclinations, which he then sort of matched up. But the funny thing, I was very happy with the result. So I didn't feel like I'd been deceived or worked over.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point as well, because the point is to meet needs, and if
authentic needs.
Exactly, authentic needs. And if a customer has come in and they know what they want, and you've tried to show them things that fit with that, sometimes it won't. If it doesn't work out that time, obviously you don't sort of become pushy and don't become despondent about the amount of time you spent with them, because a lot of people, I'm sure probably you all experience this, will remember a sales assistant who was really helpful even if you didn't end up buying something, because sometimes that's the test then of what kind of service you'll get afterwards. So, and it will pay off, because you might not have had what they wanted or needed that time, but they'll come back, or they'll recommend you to others. So it's definitely always worth trying to genuinely meet needs. And obviously this guy could do it really well because he had so much information that he did have the tools to find the car that was appropriate for you, something that you wanted. Yeah. Anybody else? It's just a nodding. Yes.
Me too.
We had a man from the East, our plane was cancelled to Sydney, and the competition guy worked very hard to get us a flight for free that would get us where we needed to go. And he didn't have to do that. We were so impressed that we wrote a letter to his
Excellent.
saying,
So nice of you.
actually appreciate it.
So he went the extra mile guy.
Indeed.
That's good.
Yeah.
There you go. So he's building up that goodwill towards the brand, which will pay off both for him personally, because he got a customer compliment out of it, and in general for the brand too. So I hope they're hanging on to him. He sounds like a good employee. So what I've got here is effective communication. So these, in my opinion, are some anyway of the hallmarks of great experience. So I guess, as Chris said, knowing the good features and benefits, and also for you, obviously this guy was demonstrating a great attitude as well to try and help you, that you knew he really wanted to help you and didn't just take over too bad. So again, your verbal and non-verbal means of communication, tone of voice, body language and that sort of thing. Listening skills are really important as well. With Chris, this car sales assistant, obviously you said he sounded out what you needed. That was by listening to what you're saying. So So he's actively listening. He's not just saying, I'm going to sell this to that guy. He's listening to what you're saying. Another way to provide great service is to develop a rapport that brings repeat business, which is what, again, both of these people have done. Sometimes you get lucky and the customer is just someone who you actually really like, because you can enjoy the interaction with them, if they're funny or whatever. So it's easy to build a rapport that way. But a lot of the times things that are building a rapport, apart from having provided previously good service, can be that you remember people. Customers like it in Rod and Gun if when they come back into the store next time after a week or a month, if you remember them or you comment that often they're wearing a piece of Rod and Gun clothing, they really like that. It's a sign that you're committed to the brand and that you take your job seriously and that you sort of respect people rather than feeling like, as you said, there's too much of a salesperson that's not genuine. So that always is a good way to build a rapport as well. Remember your customers and don't be afraid to let them know that you remember them. And anticipating further opportunities to offer service. So again, other products or offer them advice, specialist care advice, that's something they've bought. And anticipating potential problems and prepare. I mean, I've put the example here of steaming a shirt for a customer to wear now. A few weeks ago, we had, I think, 2 couples on a Saturday afternoon come into the shop, and they were both going to weddings that afternoon, like in about 2 hours. I don't know why they were only buying an outfit then, but they were. And so, we said, look, if you've got other things to do for half an hour or something, we can steam the pants, steam the shirt, have it ready, just things like that they didn't have to ask for, and then it meant that, they appreciated the service. Okay. Where's the service? I had to put this guy in. Yeah. Don't be this guy. Chris, are you familiar with this character from The Simpsons? He owns the comic book. He owns the.
I can see it.
Yeah, he owns the local comic book paraphernalia store in Springfield, and he's just terrible with customer service. Sorry, but if you follow everything we've just been talking about, you will be the complete polar opposite of the infamous comic book guy. Handling complaints. So complaints are a normal part of customer interaction. It will happen. And I've probably worded it a little bit strangely here, but one person's, I'm not that bothered about that problem, is another person's complaint. And in a way, the converse does happen with compliments. You guys went to the effort of putting in a compliment for that guy, which was fantastic, but someone else might not have bothered because they would have thought, well, you should be doing that anyway. So it's interesting the different thresholds and expectations that customers have. The point with complaints is that if you don't think it's that valid yourself, it shouldn't still change the attitude that you're presenting to the customer towards how to resolve it. So listen actively, again, and seek advice. Most of you, because you're coming in at the sales assistant sort of casual level at Rod and Gun, you won't really be expected to resolve anything much yourself. If there's anything that's problematic, just tell the customer that you will go and get the manager, or that the manager will call them back as soon as possible. If there's no one around and it's kind of a low-level complaint, like about a piece of clothing that you can exchange, then you can just follow the store policies to take action and resolve it. So maintain a courteous and professional attitude at all times. Don't aggravate someone who's already feeling a little bit negative towards the company. And if it's possible to convert a complaint, someone who's made a complaint or has some sort of grievance, that by the end of the interaction that they've come back to being a satisfied customer. And the main way to do that is by delivering good service. So, and maintaining all these attitudes and things that I've got here. The other thing is if you need to document it, like leave a note in the diary for somebody or something like that, do it accurately, obviously, but do it professionally as well. Assume that the customer can read the note. Don't say the customer came in and was a jerk. Okay, because if for some reason they have asked to see what you wrote about them or something like that, everything needs to be professional. And my personal tip is that sometimes when you're handling a customer who's being a bit unreasonable or a little bit aggressive, you can kind of feel that you want to personally respond to that aspect of it. The best thing, of course, is that from the start of the interaction, put yourself in the mindset of the company. What would the company want to achieve? How would the company want to resolve this? The desire to tell someone that they're being a bit unreasonable, if they are, which does occasionally happen. Save that for your personal time, but just try and put your personal mindset out of it and just follow store policies and follow these pieces of advice. Okay. Special customer requirements. Just a quick pointer to be aware of customers with special needs or requirements. Older customers may want a seat, and it's sort of a nice polite thing to do to offer them. In Rod and Gun there's always seats around. Pregnant ladies might like a seat. Customers with prams or wheelchairs, they might need, a bit of extra access between something or assisted access to higher items. When in one of my first jobs, I worked in a bakery. It was on a parade that no longer exists, but it was on a corner that had windows on both sides, and I was working behind a counter. And this guy in a wheelchair was like kind of knocking on the window and looking and trying to get my attention, and I was just didn't understand what was going on, and I sort of thought, what he's doing. And after a few more minutes, he came around to the front and he sort of gestured, and I was like, I'll get to you in a minute. And I finally realised that there was a step that was only about that big, that a person not in a wheelchair wouldn't even, I'd never even thought about it, but he couldn't get into the shop because we didn't have wheelchair access. So the poor guy was trying to get my attention to just say, can you give me some service? So obviously I served him from the door, I couldn't get him into the store. And from then on, whenever I saw him, he'd come past me by the window and I'd go up there. So it was a question of me just not even thinking about it. Hopefully wheelchair access has improved a little bit more since those days. None of the Rod Gun stores have got steps leading into them or any steps inside of them that I'm aware of. No, they don't. So we're all up there. But it's just a way to try and keep those sort of things in mind. Does anyone remember what this Simpsons reference was? When Ned Flanders had the leftorium and the customer came in and said, I hear you validate parking, and Ned said yes, and tried to get him to buy some left-handed goods, and the guy could just So Ned is certainly meeting all customer requirements there. So the sales assistant toolkit, I think I've made my point here, mostly service skills. So if you want to break them down, it's about meeting needs, communicating, successful selling, recording details accurately, being courteous and being a problem solver, resolving complaints professionally and according to store policy. Essentially these all come back to being service skills that we've talked about. So this is your main thing that you have that will help you achieve company goals, resolve problems, all that sort of stuff. Okay, customer orders. You'll be doing a fair bit of customer, ordering items in for customers because people want things that aren't available in store. A couple of points about it just before we start the activity on it is, of course, record the customer details accurately. Sometimes people don't do that, and when they're off, if it's their day off, it's bound to happen then that the customer will come in or call up or ask about the item and no one can find the order form or they can't make sense of it or something like that. Or they've ordered in the wrong size by mistake. So keep the details accurately, source your stock as efficiently as possible, bearing in mind when the customer wants it by. Give your customer clear and accurate information all the time about what's going on. Process returns or refunds if required. So sometimes a customer will need to prepay for an item in order to get it transferred or to get it sent over. If they then change their mind for whatever reason, which they may do, and they certainly can do, after it's arrived, obviously you just do a refund for them. And basically when any problems arrive, the service skills that we've talked about so far are your best way to meet customer needs and resolve any problems. So as I said here, service skills. Okay, so we're near the end of the first session now. So what we'll do is do an activity based on customer service ordering, customer special orders. So I'll get you to get into pairs, and obviously because we've got an odd number, you'll all need to swap around anyway. But you'll also, basically one person will be the customer, one person will be the sales assistant. And using the cards provided, which I'll get this all set up in a moment, obtain and record the details of a customer order on an order form, and then submit that order form to some of the tools that we've been talking about are embedded in this activity, so to give you a chance to see how those will be used. It's not a role play game, so I don't want you to feel awkward. I've tried to make sure that we can get some of the benefits of a role play type situation, but without having to improvise anything, although if anyone in the room was into acting, they might enjoy that. But most people aren't. So I've tried to avoid that awkwardness. So I don't mind if you read out the cards and you just be informed with it. The point is to learn how to meet customer needs, how to, again, use service to solve problems and overcome unexpected hitches, good customer service and communication skills, and also good documentation skills, as I mentioned, for other staff, because it will quite often happen that you won't be at work when something progresses with the order. So other people need to be able to read, they don't need to read the whole story, but they need to be able to know enough details that they can continue with the customer service for that particular person. Okay, so, what I'll do, okay, we'll go through this because otherwise we'll just all read it while I'm at the back anyway. So I've got a few little boxes with cards in and they're labelled. So step one, whoever's playing the customer, they take a card from the items wanted box and one from the customer needs it by box. So you say what they're after and when they want it by, and you inform your sales assistant of that. Step two, the sales assistant now checks the availability as we do magic computer checking. And so you take a card from the box marked availability, and on that card it will have options available. So basically from here, you take action, like you discuss it with your customer and you take action and you update your order form to the extent that you think is necessary. So at this point, the cards will instruct the sales assistant through any further steps required to complete the order. The cards will tell the sales assistant strategies that they can use to provide service in order to meet the customer needs. So remember to follow the cards and communicate with your customer and update your order form. The cards will also prompt you to update your order form, so like that. I'll demonstrate it for you with someone. I've said here that I won't read the card out to you, but maybe I will. But I've set it up so that there are different outcomes for people. So what I'll do, if you guys can just kind of amongst yourselves for a moment. Yes. So I've got customer order forms if you guys just want to take one, like pass them around and take one each.
So stressed.
Thank you. Well, there's no role play, so
That's why I'm stressed.
more role play. Well, I'm going to be the only person in the room who would be interested in doing that. But I still wanted to, it's really beneficial just to try and be in some way the position of a customer and sales assistant and go from there. So I'll be, of course, needing your feedback at the end of all of these sessions about everything, and I've got a detailed feedback form, but I'll be interested to see if you find this useful. So what have I got here? I've got step 1 and 2. I have step 3. Sorry, the print is quite small. You might have noticed that one there. And excuse the hair.
There's another one there.
Some hairs. Sorry, that's just. You know, as soon as you put something on the carpet of your house, suddenly 20 hairs that you couldn't see are stuck to your stitches.
Yes.
No, it's a red hair. It's one of mine. Anyway, yeah. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that one actually, Tash, what's on here? So this one, I've kind of based these a little bit on, some of the cards in Monopoly. This is kind of like a get out of jail free card, sort of. It's a get get out of jail for a $15 fee kind of card. And so they're a little bit, based on the community chest cards or those sort of things that we do. Okay, so Jeremy, do you want to be my customer?
I'll be a customer.
Thank you. Okay, so step 1 and 2 are for you. No, we messed up. I've got them all rigged.
Ah,
Joking.
Let's go that one.
step 1. 1 pair of Branco boots. Colour size 43. They'll be the right size. Customer
Big size
designer rush
43.
with the item.
Okay. Bring my chair
Branco.
over. Alrighty, so you are after a pair of Branco boots in a 43,
Yes.
and you're not in a rush though, you don't need them urgently.
No.
Okay.
So cowboy boots.
Sure.
No, it's not the brand, it's just what they've named the item.
So I'll fill out my form here, Branco boots, 43, which was the colour that you were after, the earth colour? Okay, and what was your name?
Jeremy.
And your contact details, your contact number?
0407 002 437.
Okay, I'll just confirm that. It's 0407 002 437.
Yes. Yeah, she doesn't know.
And we're after Branco boots in 43 in earth.
Yep.
Okay, what I would do is check the availability of those. I'll let you guys know for kind of training purposes, just to give you a bit of an introduction to what this is about, that there's a bit of information on here. So the outcome of this is that the item is only available from interstate stores, there's none locally available. Our company policy is that there are no interstate transfers. So what I need to do is inform Jeremy that if you do want the item, you can pay for it over the phone and have it sent directly to your house. There'll be no postage fee to you for that, so it's the same cost as in store. And it will arrive in 5 to 10 working days. Now, just for demonstration purposes, there is another option here for what I can offer the customer if they urgently want it, but because Jeremy is not in a rush, I don't imagine that he wants to pay for an express post fee. So you're happy for me to organise a phone order and you pay for the item over the phone?
Yep.
Great, okay, just bear with me.
I'm a good customer.
You're very cooperative. So just that interstate arrival window be 5 to 10 days. And that means you will have paid for the item over the phone already. And it will be going directly to your house. Okay, so I'll leave my card out. What I need to do next, you'll assume that some time has passed, is find out what was the actual delivery time. Again, get a bit of info on here. So I did say that it would arrive in 5 to 10 days, but unfortunately the stock hasn't arrived and it's now late. And Australia Post informs me that the parcel is lost. It does happen sometimes. So I need to advise the customer and apologise for the inconvenience. So Jeremy, I do apologise, but unfortunately the item has been lost. Australia Post informs me that it's actually lost. So obviously because you paid for the item, if you no longer want to pursue it, I can refund you. Or our company, because it was sort of our fault, because what we can do is offer you that we will pay the fee to have another pair express posted here to the store if another one is available. So do you want me to check if there's another one available and do that?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay, sure. Alrighty, so what I'll do is just make a quick note here. It never arrived. And so I'm down to my final chance to get it. Ooh, ouch. Well, I checked the computer and unfortunately there were no others available. So I'm instructed here to inform the customer, apologise for the inconvenience, refund the item if that was applicable, and provide service by offering to show the customer the same item in different colours or similar things. So Jeremy, I do apologise, but there aren't any others available. So what I can do is show you some other boots that were similar style, or I can show you the other colour that the Branco boot came in. Would you like me to do that?
Oh, maybe yes.
Great, I will do so.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially we'll consider that the end of the activity. I've written down there game over. you don't actually need to role play the service that you would provide, but that would be a good way to offer service to get around the end of that situation.
And any customers who are as accommodating as Jane?
Quite a few are actually, I have to admit,
Excellent.
yeah. But it does vary a lot, and as I said, one person's, oh, I'm not that bothered, is another person's, I'm quite satisfied. So, yeah.
Nonsense, right?
I demand satisfaction. So, does that kind of, yes, questions?
Is Jeremy buying a product that he hasn't signed?